Hey now, and welcome to the Help Find the Others podcast. If you've been here all along, well then welcome back. If this is your first time listening to us, well then welcome. I'm your host, Rubin, and as always, my co-host Stan is on the line. How you doing, man?
Doing great.
Awesome. So, we don't have a guest tonight, and I just wanted to get on and tell a story of what happened to me, and I haven't talked too much to Stan about it, so just wanted to have a discussion about a very bizarre life experience that happened to me that happens to a lot of people, and it's usually pretty mundane, and that's what I was expecting, but this actually ended up being quite challenging and something I'll never forget, and that is I had to serve jury duty. And so have you ever had to do that, Stan?
Oddly enough, I haven't. My father is a lawyer, and I don't ask questions because it's not something I want to do, but ever since I was 18 or whenever the enrollment start is, I've never had to serve, and I think it's something that he's done for me. I don't know how you get out of it, but he's done it for me. So I've never had to do it. I've never completed jury duty once. So I even when you were explaining it to me briefly, it's all new to me because I've never experienced a courtroom or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, my background with law is that my dad was actually a lawyer and a judge. And so I've definitely been in courthouses, maybe not the courtroom. Well, I've been in courtrooms. Just I was, the defendant. But
Mm-hmm.
but I knew the process. My dad talks law a lot. He was a defense attorney, so he talked a lot about innocence, and I've just had ingrained in my head that most people that get found guilty of something are actually innocent, or it was a misunderstanding or whatever. And so that's always been kind of my view of police and courts, even before I was a criminal in the eyes of the law.
Mm-hmm.
I've always had that. So I've always followed the there's a Doug Stanhope bit where he talks about how to how you can change the rights of or right the wrongs of society and stuff like that. And he's like, anyone that goes on jury duty, if it's a victimless crime, you go all the way through and you say not guilty and you hold your ground, and so I was like, fuck yeah, Doug Stanhope, that's what you do, and so anyway, so I've never had to do jury duty, but that's always been my thing, is if I'm on it, it's not guilty no matter what, that's what it is. I've always had that in my head, plus what my dad has always told me and how the court system works and stuff like that. So I had not registered to vote in my county until there was a ballot in Ohio, a voter referendum to legalize recreational cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
And I had not registered to vote until then, and I voted that year because of that. And so they may have changed how it works, but my understanding is you go on jury duty when you're registered to vote in your county. That's how you're on the books to be selected.
Yeah.
And so I had never had to do jury duty before I lived in this county, and then I hadn't had to do it. That was 5 or 6 years ago was that vote, I think. By now, I don't remember when that vote was, but that was the only reason I'm even on their books, is because of the cannabis bill that failed ultimately in Ohio, which even adds insult to this injury. But I get the letter in the mail. I think last year my neighbor had got it, and also my wife, and both of them went in for the selection and didn't get selected and came home, and got $15 for their time. And that was it. We just had to handle childcare for the day. And other than that, it wasn't really a big deal. But I thought with, I don't live in a city, but I live in a rather large county. There's a lot of voters to choose from. And I was like, if my neighbor and my wife had to do it, I'm never going to have to do this shit because I don't know that many people that have ever had to do jury duty. And the story for most people is pretty similar to my wife and my neighbor, where you go and don't get selected and you're only there for a day or a half a day. So that's what I'm expecting, that I'm not going to have to do it. So a year later, I get the fucking yellow paper. And it's all got all these warnings on it that if you don't call between 2 and 3 on this Friday, and they give you like a 2-week notice too. And they're like, if you don't call between 2 and 4, there's going to be a warrant for your arrest. And it could be up, there's jail time and fine possible, and then, so you have to call to see if they need you on Monday. And so I call, and now you do get a notice before that there's a 3-month window that you're like on the list, So I was like, oh shit, I might get called or whatever. But I didn't know that like when they need you, that you only have a 2-week or 1-week notice. Actually, I think I got it on like a Monday, and it was like, you have to call on Friday to see if you're needed next Monday. And it's like, shit, So I call, and sure enough, they're like, yeah, you got to show up on Monday at 8:00. I'm like, God damn it. So we have to, get all this shit together to get my son taken care of, because I mean, like, my wife can't take off of work because I have jury duty. Like, you can take off and get paid, if you have jury duty.
Yeah.
But so we had to figure out what to do there. And so I get dressed up and go, and all weekend I'm texting with people asking if they've done jury duty. And my one buddy's like, oh yeah, I've been called 3 times, and I go in, and when they ask me, like, I tell them that I work on commission, and I will say whatever it takes to have them be not guilty, or I will say whatever it takes to speed the process up, because the longer I'm here, the more money I lose. And usually they just tell me to go home. And then some other people were like, you should wear a Confederate flag shirt and a Make America Great Again hat, or, there's people are just saying, to really to play up that you're a non-biased, or that you're a very biased person,
Super biased, yeah.
Right. So I was like, all right, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. And so I'm going thinking this is going to be, in and out, and I'm going to have a funny story to tell, So we go, and, they bring everyone in this room, and there's people that come in with like wheelchairs and oxygen tanks and all this shit. And I'm like, damn, like, they're definitely not going to have to do it. Like, they're not going to make them serve on the jury. And then they bring you in this room, and they show you this video, and it's the most like propaganda, rah flag waving USA, like, this is your duty, this is why we're free and just bullshit video I've ever seen, which didn't make me feel any better about the situation. I already felt like a complete fucking, rebel outsider in there anyway, and planned on acting on that. So I was like, oh my God, this fucking video, and I'm texting people in there, like, oh, they're making us watch this propaganda video, blah, 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 And so that's over. And then they make us wait in there for this fucking awkward amount of time. And then they're like, okay, the judge is ready. Time to everyone go in. So we go in the courtroom, and it's like full on, like, lawyers, defendant, family members, judge, bailiff,
the whole thing.
Court reporter. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't really know that process. I thought this was like selection, and then the trial was going to be, like, weeks away and whatever, and so they sit and we all sit in like the audience chairs, and they're like, okay, so the way this works, we're calling names randomly off this list, and the attorneys and the judge will ask you questions. You'll be sworn in, and they'll ask you questions, and then they get to each attorney can dismiss 5 people, and the judge can dismiss anyone they want. And there will be 12 jurors and 2 alternates. So 14 of you, will be selected to sit through the whole trial.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh shit, but there's like 45 people maybe that, are in this initial group.
Okay.
And
Your odds
so I'm
aren't
like,
that bad.
yeah. So I'm like, I bet I won't get picked then even, And he's like, all right. So again, this is all random generated. First name is mine. And I'm like, God damn it. Okay. So I walk up and they swear me in and I sit down in the jury thing and they call everyone's names and we all fill the box or whatever. And the judge is like, okay, so, you're the selected jury. The lawyers may dismiss you, but I will refer to you collectively as the jury from the rest of the time. And he was like talking about, how important it is, reinstilling this is your duty. This is what makes our court system work. Everyone has the right to a jury of their peers and blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, and you could tell, like, I was looking at everyone's body language and I talked to some people outside, smoking cigarettes and stuff. And like, we're talking and everyone's like, yeah, I never get picked for these things. Or someone's like, I'm going to tell them I can't, I got to watch myself, and everyone has like these, how they're going to get out of it, how they're going to lie and get out of it. And, and so like, that's, I could see everyone's body and language was the same as mine in that, like, yeah, I'm just going to talk some shit, fuck these guys, or whatever. And so we're all just sitting there and the judge is going on. And then he's like, okay. And he's like, now this is a murder trial involving a child that is deceased. And the entire courtroom of potential jurors that had no idea about this case just sunk. Like everybody was like, oh shit, and is like, I can't lie or, and tell shit.
Yeah.
I can't not take this seriously,
Shit got real.
Shit got real, And I was like, oh, fuck. And so
even after your name is picked, you can still make your case on why you can or can't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so about two women, the judge asked, I forgot what he said, but, basically like, do you think you could handle this?
Mm-hmm.
And like two or three women raise their hand and were like crying. And, they're like, one of them like lost a child, from sickness,
okay.
Like 2 years old or something like that. And, yeah, I mean, there was like two or three like sad stories, and two of them he was, or no, I think all of those he let go. And so I was like, well, man, I can't. I don't know. It's weird. I guess I could have right there was my moment to be like, I'm out. I don't want to do this,
Yeah.
But following their stories, like, I don't know, it's like a peer pressure kind of thing. And this whole, the whole situation, and this will be a common theme in my story. The whole situation is all peer pressure.
Okay.
And so I was like, I can't fucking follow up this lady that's crying that the bailiff had to give napkins to dry her eyes. I can't be like, I don't know. I don't like murder, like, I don't know what I would have said, it was just a really real moment that like
you would have had to crafted some bullshit.
I would have had to be like super fucking honest or whatever. And like, yeah, I would have either had to craft bullshit and felt like a dick about it or been super honest and sounded like a weirdo. So I was like, man, I don't know. I was like, well, I'm going to say that like, I can't work or whatever. I'm going to add that angle. And so someone said that they're like in investments and, they can't miss any time and blah, blah, blah. And he didn't even let that guy go. He was like, I'm sorry. Like, he's like, this will probably be over by Friday. And, I'm sorry, like we're going to pay you for his time. He said, for your time and stuff like that. He wouldn't let that guy go. There was a couple people. Oh, and then I was like, I'm going to say like, I got a vacation planned. and what sucked is I was at the end that he always started at the opposite end. So like everyone else had their stories before it came to me, and yeah, some guy, was talking about how he has a vacation planned, and he was like, do you have tickets bought? And he was like, no. He's like, well, then I'm sorry. And then another lady was like, I've got a vacation. And he was like, do you have tickets booked? And you'll have to provide proof. And she was like, yes, I do. And he was like, okay, well, the bail, you can go. The bailiff will contact you about that, about getting proof of the tickets. So I'm like, well, I don't have tickets. And he didn't let the other guy go. So I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just got to like froze, man. I couldn't think of any way to get out of it. There was also a little bit part of me that was like, this is interesting, like that. Okay. Like,
yeah.
A murder fucking case. And then like,
it's not just like a speeding ticket or something like that.
Right. And I'm like, and I'm looking, and like, I didn't realize that like the defendant was right there too. So like, I thought he was just an attorney or something like that. I didn't think that this was the trial. Right. And so they go through that whole thing. The lawyers ask all these questions where I'm like, well, here's where I'll get out. I'll kind of show them that I fucking think prosecutors are dickheads, and like, I'll be like, yeah. And so, I mean, I can't remember exactly the answers I gave, but, I said, the defense asked, do you think that people can be convicted guilty that are actually innocent? And she asked me, and I was like, absolutely. And I think that happens way more times than most people want to think, realize does. Mm-hmm. And I went on and on about, that like, the motto of the court system is innocent until proven guilty, but that the structure is not set up that way, that you have to go to great lengths to prove your innocence, which means you're essentially guilty, before you're proven innocent. Yep. And I would have thought that if I was a prosecutor that heard that I would say, get him the fuck out of here. But no, they didn't do anything. So I only got to answer like 2 questions. They didn't ask every juror. They just like kind of randomly picked names on the sheet. And they went through their 5 dismissals each. And like, I wasn't in the cut. And so they go through all that, and then they're like, okay, so that's all the dismissals. The rest of the jurors, thank you for your time. You can now leave. So the whole thing clears out, and we're just all sitting there. I'm like, fuck, I guess I'm on this fucking jury for a murder trial, and I'm like, and I'm like, well, at least it's like a kid was killed, and, I'm gonna, be serving justice to someone that would fucking kill a kid, and, whatever. And that's what I was thinking. I was like, this is gonna be a great story for the rest of my life, and whatever. How many people can say you were on a murder trial? You're a juror on a murder trial. So that's what I'm thinking at this moment, and, it's like, I don't know, 10:30 in the afternoon or in the morning, and, all of them leave. And the fucking trial just starts like right there, like opening statements, like no fucking go outside, smoke a cigarette. No, go tell your family you're going to be stuck here for a week. Like nothing. And it's like, what? And you could tell from like the body language of like everyone. And once there was a break and we went to the juror room, we were, all talking about that. They're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it's already the trial. like all of us were like, what? But yeah, so they go through like the opening statements, and the prosecution starts, and they're telling the story. I hesitate to like say we'll put links up to the case. But maybe we'll talk about that afterwards. But anyway, I'll kind of sum up what happened. And this guy was already found guilty of felonious assault and child endangerment. And what happened was he was watching his girlfriend's kids, and a her 4-year-old son, 4 or 5, I can't remember. He somehow had a traumatic brain injury that nobody knows other than this guy, the defendant, that caused him to be in a vegetative state for I think it was like 8 years or so, with not being able to hear, see, or communicate at all. And about 2 years ago, he died from pneumonia, from being in his condition, obviously, though. And so this is what the case was to charge him with murder. Now he was in jail already. Like he was sentenced to like 8 or 9 years or something like that for the assault. And then, so this was to connect those injuries to murder and give him a life sentence. So they're going through that and explaining like he's already been found guilty. You know, your job as a jury is not to determine if he caused these injuries to the kid. It's to determine if this kid died because of the state he was in, and the state he was in was because of this man, and he's been found guilty of that. So they're telling that, and I'm like, well, yeah, you know, like, okay, I get behind that, you know, or whatever. And then so the defense does their opening statements, and they're like, you know, there's a lot of things in the first trial that are fishy. And while nobody knows besides the defendant, there's nobody alive that knows besides the defendant
what happened
of what happened. There isn't enough, or the defense does not feel there's enough evidence to say that, you know, he caused intentional harm to this child. So it's like, whew, okay, you know, and then they after the opening statements, that took forever, and they gave us a break and took us in the jury room and told us how everything was going to go, and then we were able to go home that day, that after the opening statements. And so I go home and they say, they're like, do not Google the case. Do not tell anybody about the case. Basically, your entire understanding of this case needs to come from the prosecution and the defense and the judge.
Okay.
And each other and the jurors.
And you hadn't heard about it beforehand?
No. And they asked about that, and no one had, you know, which is kind of interesting. Which that was another thing. I'm like, why did I just say I know that guy? Yeah, I know that story. You know, they would have kicked me out. But anyway, yeah. So the first thing I do when I get in the car is call my dad, was a lawyer, and tell him what the case is. I mean, like, I was like, I'm like, there ain't no way I'm fucking being sequestered like that, you know? You know, and so, and then the second thing I did was Google it, you know, and it's interesting, and you really see media bias even on small stories like that, of like, depending on, you know, some journalists made it sound like he might have been innocent. Some made it sound like he was guilty as fuck, you know, and whatever. But the main information that I got that was going through my head for the rest of the trial that I got from Googling it is two things. One is the kid's mom not only stayed with this guy, but got married to him after this injury. And he helped take care of the kid for years, for 4 or 5 years. And so that gets me thinking, you know, like, well, she obviously doesn't believe that he did it on purpose if she married him. Why would you marry someone that gave your kid a traumatic brain injury that he was found guilty of? You know, The other thing is that the first trial was a hung jury. And so those two things, I'm like, well, shit, is he really guilty? Like, and the problem is, as the trial goes on, is they don't go into any of that. Exhibit 1 is that he was found guilty. They don't go into anything. They have a doctor come. They have the coroner, and they talk about the condition of this kid starting from the injury. They don't talk about the injury at all. The only thing I'm supposed to know is that he's guilty. He's in jail right now for hurting this kid.
Mm-hmm.
Hurting this kid that the mother ended up marrying him afterwards. And that the first jury couldn't decide on whether he was guilty or not. So that's going through my head the entire time. So while I understand why a judge would say, don't Google this, it made me so mad that it's like, you're telling me that my civic duty that I will go to jail and get fined for if I don't partake in, is to be fed a reality of a situation solely from the court system without any other input that I may deem necessary. And for your time, we'll give you $15 a day. and so I'm like, I'm so angry at the system. The whole time I'm listening to these horrific fucking details and photos of a autopsy on a 13-year-old, wheelchair bound child.
Mm-hmm.
That, this terrible brain injury and deformed skull and all these gross things are making us look at and talk about and really trying to get the bleeding hearts and whatever. And the whole time I'm like, talk about the goddamn day he got hurt. That's what I need to know about.
The facts.
Right. And unfortunately, they did have an expert come in on the last day with who talked about traumatic brain injury. And basically this whole 2-hour long questioning back and forth. This guy was brought in, he was a witness of the prosecution. So he's paid from the county or the state who has unlimited money to pay for witnesses to come in. And he was I don't deny his credibility. The guy obviously had great credentials and knows what he's talking about. But his whole 2-hour testimony could be summed up to, this is a weird case, and if the accident wasn't intentionally from shaking the kid, that's what they said, that he shook this kid so hard that it damaged his brain, caused brain bleeding. Because there was no external injuries to the kid's head, and that's what's weird, and so that's why they said that he shook him. But in 99% of cases of a shaken baby, and this is a 4-year-old too, this isn't a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking my own kid is 5, but I'd have to really, really shake him.
Yeah.
To destroy his brain to where he never walked or talked again. So it's possible this guy got that angry, but he in 99% of the cases, there's it causes the retinas to detach and it makes their eyes all bloodshot. And that was not the case here. And there was no other injuries to his body. He was just found unresponsive and throwing up. And that's how he got to the emergency care that way. And so basically what the doctor was saying is that if this was a shaken baby or shaken kid that causes brain injury, it is in the 1% of kids that they've seen worldwide that didn't have the retinal bleeding. So right away, it's like, okay, so there's a 1% chance that that's what that what the state says happened.
Yeah.
And then knowing that there was a hung jury that they won't talk about, and anytime the defense like mentioned it, there was an objection from the prosecution, and they struck it from the record and didn't go. So I can't even talk about that in the jury room because I'm not supposed to have
researched it,
Googled it. But I'm sure the other people did, but we can't talk about it. So it's like this weird thing that we're like, what about the fucking hung jury? You know, like you could feel every time we were talking about it in the room, or we weren't even supposed to talk about the case whenever we were in the break room, but you could tell everyone wanted to, and everyone wanted to say, did you Google this? What about her marrying him? Because they didn't even talk about the mom.
Yeah.
Right. She was a witness and she had divorced him and was upset. And they brought her in to talk about how well she cared for the child, that, you know, he wasn't managed poorly that led to him dying. But she had very much turned on him at that point. So that was weird too. I'm like, what caused that? You know, like why, whatever. And so they go through all that and they were talking about, you know, on the last day, they're like, the defendant might take the stand. He has not taken the stand in the other trial. But I guess he did in the first one that was a hung jury. And he had also, what I'm guessing, I mean, with talking with my dad, he had run out of money and he couldn't hire any experts. And so there was no expert to come, you know, give another side of the story to the experts that the state had. And so to take the evidence that was totally given by the prosecution, he's guilty. But to look up and research the prior trials, I'm not 100% sure, you know? And so it's like, that's what's going through my head the whole time. And so we go through the whole trial and, you know, I didn't know, like, if I mentioned that I Googled it and no one else had, if someone in there is going to be a bitch and they're going to fucking say, you know,
like rat on you or something.
Rat on you and you get found in contempt. I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't know what's, because I mean, they said even like, one dude like left the room and went and smoked a cigarette outside, and like, you're not allowed to do that. And they were like, if you do that, if anyone does that again, it's found in contempt of court. So they're pretty serious about that. And like, that's like $1,000 fine and could be 30 days in jail. So I'm like, I don't want to fucking tell people that I read this shit, but I know they did too, you know, like, fuck, you know? And, they're like, you know, so it was like Monday we went in, Tuesday was like witnesses. Wednesday was going to be possibly the defendant getting on the stand, and then deliberation after that. And they said that can take as long as you need. We will feed you lunch, dinner, whatever you need. You can be as long for deliberation. Testimony of the defense will be done if he's on the stand, will be done by noon. You'll get lunch and then you can deliberate. And we're like, okay, whatever. So we go home, come back, and then they're like, okay, the defendant's going to get on the stand. So we walk in and he's already sworn in, sitting there. And the whole time he's fucking staring at us, the whole trial, you know, like just staring at each and every one of us, you know. And like, I mean, he didn't look like this huge criminal. Like, he had a lot of tattoos on him, you know, but like, I mean, he looked like a normal guy, you know, like, and whatever. And he had no prior criminal convictions or assault or, you know, like, that was one thing the defense was able to say is like, he, you know, doesn't have any problems, you know. There's no violence in him. He had other kids himself. He had like 3 kids. Like, their kids were friends, and that's how they ended up dating. And so he's on the stand and like, he's talking about all that. And the whole time, you know, I'm watching him and picturing this, you know, the things that could have happened and stuff like that. And I'm building up this like image of like a guy that's like myself, that's like, you know, this kid got hurt. The defense was saying he was like jumping around and fell off a table earlier in the day and had hit his head and maybe had a concussion and wasn't taken care of, or blah, blah, blah. They had all these stories about what possibly could have happened that led to that thing. And that's what the prosecution's expert kind of was like, no, this had to be him getting shaken. So I'm like, I'm picturing the person that the defense built up in my head. And like, he's just like a dude like me that's like, I don't know what happened. It's awful. Like, I love that kid like my own kid, blah, blah, blah. And so then when they start asking him questions, he, no offense, sounds just dumb and country as fuck. And it was like this weird moment of like, oh man, like this guy's dumb and poor. And that's the worst spot to be on the defendant table in a courtroom, is dumb and poor. And the state will eat you alive, and so I like even was like, oh my God, like he can't explain himself properly and just got taken by the cops, and like they just kind of forced him to say shit that maybe wasn't true or whatever. Like I'm thinking in my head, I'm thinking like the have you ever watched To Make a Murderer on Netflix? Like the Brendan, the nephew kid. Like that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh my God, they fucking got a confession out of him. That's what happened in the first case, blah, blah, blah. And
what happened there? That was just them kind of feeding him lies and trying to get him to agree to them, right?
Yeah, and he was just like scared and dumb, and like they kind of coerced him into admitting he was guilty,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I'm thinking in my head. That's not what happened in this case. But because he didn't even get charged for a couple months until after the injury. And it wasn't the mother pressure. It wasn't anyone pressing charges. It was Child Protective Services. And then, so that's even why like the mother stayed with him through the whole thing, through the whole trial, both trials. And every time he mentioned which trial, like when the prosecutor was asking and he was like, which one, the first one or second one, the prosecutor would be like, we're talking about this trial right now. Like they would cut him off. And like, so it's like, there was hints that there was a hung jury, but they kept really wiping it under the rug.
Okay.
And so anyway, the defense lets him, they're like, so you've never told the story of what happened. And today you said that you want to tell the story and it's not what you told the cops. And why is there a difference in the story? He's like, I was afraid. I was young and dumb and I didn't know, if I was going to get in trouble or not. And so I didn't tell the truth. And so he says that he was throwing the kid up in the air, like I've done, like most dads do. And that he tripped and fell off the concrete and wasn't able to catch the kid and he fell on his head. But he said the kid was fine and he was crying and he dusted him off and he was like, you're all right. And he took him in and made nachos and they ate nachos. And that he went to play with dinosaurs in his bedroom and that he checked on him a couple times and that he went in and he was taking a nap on the floor, as he said. And he went outside and smoked a couple cigarettes in the garage and then came back to check on him. And he had thrown up while he was taking a nap. And then he was like, oh, that's weird. So he took him out and put him on the couch and he was out there for a little bit. And then he threw up again. And that's when he called the girl, the kid's mom, or texted her, said, call me ASAP.
Okay.
And the time from when her mother left, when he came home from work and her mother left, till that text was an hour and 45 minutes. And so that's when whatever happened to this child happened in an hour and 45 minutes. And so he tells that story. The defense gets up, or the prosecutor gets up and rips him to shreds about lying. And, if this happened, and you went out and smoked a cigarette after this, and like, but they were very much pointing out a good point of like, you didn't handle this situation well, even if that's what happened. But then they called their expert back up to talk about the fall, and he was like, if a kid would fall like that, kids are more resilient than that to cause this type of injury. Plus, to cause this type of injury, it would take an impact so large that there would be an injury, a goose egg or blood or, a cracked skull. And that's why his decision on what happened is that it was a shaken kind of movement injury to the brain and not an impact.
Oh, okay.
So that makes sense to me. I'm like, that makes sense because there wasn't, then that's in the paperwork too, that we were able to see that, there wasn't any cuts or abrasions or anything on his head. And he was just unresponsive and vomiting and, his brain was swelling. There was bleeding on his brain. And the other thing I got from all of this is that the true like tragedy in it is that, the doctors kind of said like that night or whatever, he's not going to make it. And so they like kept him alive when like he wasn't ever really going to live, So it comes down to that, like he was in this guy's care and nobody knows, but he was found guilty and this kid died because he was in this state and he was put in this state in the hour and 45 minutes that he was in this guy's care. All right, go in that room and tell us what you want for lunch, and we'll see you later. Like, and that was it, and it was like, what? And like, so we all went in the room, and none of us had done jury duty before. And we were like, someone was like, well, who wants to be the foreman? And someone else was like, let's eat lunch first. And everyone was like, yeah. So we like ordered lunch and they went and got it and brought it and we all ate without talking about this case at all during all of that. So I'm like, I have to be like, ooh, BLT pizza sounds good. Like what, like that was probably one of the toughest parts of the whole thing was like, everybody obviously had shit to say.
Yeah.
And was like acting like a group, like let's hang on to not having to make a decision in a dubious murder trial. Let's hang on to this phase of our life as long as we can.
Yeah.
And so, we all ate like in relative silence. And then, someone was like, okay, so who wants to be the foreman? And like one lady was like, let's just talk about this shit first. And I was like, amen. And I was like, I went up on the board and I was like, I wrote guilty, not guilty. And I was like, let's just write our juror numbers down under what we think. And I was like, I wrote mine under not guilty. And then one lady was like, well, I think he's guilty. So we could stop voting on that and let's talk about it. And so we're like,
and what were you trying to charge him for again?
Murder.
It wasn't anything less than that.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it was 2 counts: murder stemming from the assault and murder stemming from the child endangerment.
Okay.
And so they had a packet with all the legalese about the charges and the prior charges. They had all the evidence in front of us and all that, all the forms. They had like a mountain of paperwork of every time in 8 years this kid had been to the hospital or whatever. So they don't talk about the possible sentencing at all, what he's up against. So we don't know if we're, if this is a death sentence or a life sentence, And so we start talking about it, and I was not alone in saying like, why can't we know any more about the prior trial? Like like we were all on board that this that he would not have died of pneumonia had he not been in a vegetative state. And that's what the state was just trying to make us have that conclusion. And I'm like, yeah, we're all there. Yeah. But like half of us were like, what happened? Let's talk about this other case. If they're not going to talk about it, let's us talk about it, because he might not have injured this kid, you know. And then there was definitely some people that were in it that were like, he's fucking guilty. Let's get the fuck out of here. We got free pizza. Let's go.
That's great.
Right? You
That's
know,
great.
Right? Yeah. There was one dude that didn't say anything the entire time. All 3 days, he just looked at his phone while we were able to have our phones and didn't do anything. You know, and like just seemed like, ugh. There was a dude behind me, like on the first day, that got selected for the jury. He was an 18-year-old kid, and he was falling asleep during the trial. Wow. And got dismissed, which is actually kind of funny because he was sitting right behind me, and like we're like going, and like they're showing photos of like an autopsy, you know.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh man. And then I look over, and the other prosecutor that wasn't talking at the time, he's staring right at me, and I'm just looking at the screen, like kind of like what, and like I catch out of the corner of my eye, he's staring right at me, and I'm like, what's that fucking dude looking at? What's wrong? Like, and then like, so like I like kind of like thought my hair was messed up or whatever, and I'm sitting there, and then I look, and he's still staring at me, but now he looks angry, and I'm like, what the fuck did I do? I'm like, I was like getting really nervous, you know, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then he interrupts the other prosecutor that's like trying to, you know, get everyone's emotions up with these autopsy photos, and he's like, Judge, can we have a sidebar real quick? And all the lawyers go up, and they're all talking to the judge, and when they do a sidebar, they put this like static over the sound system so that no one can hear anything that the lawyers and the judge are saying. And they're all over there talking, and they're all pointing and looking at me, and I'm like, what the fuck? What did I fucking do? Like I was so nervous that I was about to get fucking 30 days in the hole in contempt of court or whatever, you know. I'm like, God damn it. And then so they all go back, and the judge comes on. He's like, this is a rather serious case, and as jurors, we need your attention, and we need everyone to stay awake. And I'm like, I wasn't fucking falling asleep. What the fuck? And then, like, I was like, did he think I was sleeping? Like, what the fuck's going on? And so then like they go back to talking about the autopsy, and I'm like trying to be like the most studious juror ever, you know, or whatever.
Yeah. And
then I look, and the lawyer's looking right at me again, and it never even occurred to me that he was looking behind me. And so he calls a sidebar again, and then the judge calls the bailiff over, and she walks in, and she walks in the row behind me, and like goes to the kid, and she's like, can you come with me real quick? And took him out, and we never saw him again. And one of the alternate jurors filled in his spot. But yeah, you know, there was like someone that was that nonchalant about this scenario that was just bizarre, you know, on top of the guy that had nothing to say during deliberation of a jury. Nothing.
Yeah.
Didn't add nothing to add. We asked, like, do you think guilty or not guilty? He was like, guilty.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I forgot the first day too, to make it even weirder, was I had decided to microdose and hit a vape pen before I went into court. Thinking more like, you know, yeah, fuck these guys, fuck this fucking cop bullshit. So I like was like already in that headspace going into fucking opening statements of a murder trial. I was already like, oh my God, what a dumb idea to fucking get stoned before jury duty.
That's hilarious. So you guys are deliberating in the back room after the pizza and all that. And how long did it take you guys to kind of come to a conclusion? Or is that something you can talk about?
Yeah. I mean, well, okay. So to sum up, you know, 4 or 5 hours of deliberating, like it was damn near dinner time when we were done. We, you know, had some really good philosophical talks, honestly.
Did anyone else bring up the prior case, like that you were afraid of bringing up?
I brought it up and was like, I was like, what's the other case? What's the other trial that they always talk about? And they always cut him off. I brought up that fact.
Okay.
And someone said, they were like, I think I have heard of this case before. And there was like a mistrial or a hung jury or something. And I was like, well, I bet that it's because other jurors had the same doubts that we have. So we talked about, you know, what could have happened. And, you know, everyone was like, you have to really undermine this expert doctor whose life's work is based on traumatic child abuse to believe the story of this guy that can't get his story straight and has lied a bunch of times. He wrote a letter to the judge to try to get out early, admitting to the crime. But then his that was one of the pieces of evidence. I forgot to mention that. But he when he took the stand and the prosecution asked him about that, he said that he paid some guy some coffee to write the letter and that he never read it and he just signed it and sent it to the judge. So that was his argument there. And it turns out that letter, when that came out, is when the mom divorced him because she was like, I stood by you and now you're saying you did it. So we talked about that. We talked about the, why would she still marry him after this? And, you know, some people that had a good point, and it's what I choose to believe now, at least, that she had already been through this traumatic thing. She needed as many people around her to be supportive as possible. And you're going to believe those people, you know? So I hope that's what
I can see that.
Case, yeah, I hope that's what the case is with believing him and sticking with him. But he changed his story plenty of times. And when it came down to it, we really dissected the wording of the charges, you know, because we're like, we can't just say guilty. Like, what is he guilty of? And what it came down to is that child endangerment, failure to act and to protect children that are in your care is the same thing as intentionally hurting them in the eyes of the law, but that's the way it was written. And so that's what it came down to, is this child ended up in this condition because he failed to act. And who knows how long this kid was laying on the floor unresponsive. And he went out and smoked a cigarette in the garage and tried to wake him up. You know, they did all these things before calling 911. And he didn't call 911. He called the mother who called her mom, who came over. And then he said, take him to urgent care. And so he went to urgent care, and urgent care was like, holy shit. And they mercy flighted him. So it's like there was all these like missteps in handling an injured child that, like, if I would have seen my kid on the ground unresponsive, thrown up, I would call 911 right away.
First thing.
And so he apparently had a warrant. Well, he did, not apparently, but he had a warrant out for his arrest for not paying child support for his own kids. And that's why he didn't call 911. Was because he was afraid of getting arrested. So it's like all these things that it's like, okay, the guilty of child endangerment is legit. And this kid died because he ended up in that condition. So we were all able to agree guilty on the one count.
Yep.
And then we were like hemming and hawing over the assault part, you know, and that's where the peer pressure comes in, man. Is like after like an hour and a half of like everyone being like, there was like me and two other people that were like, I don't know about assault. And it just came down to like, he's guilty already of murder. We've already agreed he's guilty of murder. Like I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I can't even really remember how we were all convinced, like, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, but it had been so long, and it's like, all right, he's already a murderer. He's already convicted murderer as we're sitting right here on one charge. You know, we're not going to change anyone's mind and let's stop fucking like putting ourselves through this. And basically, I think is what I felt, and what I think everyone else that was kind of like up in the air about the assault charge, the one charge, um, we were just like, all right, whatever, and I mean that sucks, and it's it's a complete opposite of how I went into the whole situation feeling, but
if the alternative is keeping you and all of those people locked up in a room until something happens,
Well, yeah, and it came down to like, am I going to take this doctor's word as what he's saying? Or am I going to say the doctor's full of shit because he's bought by the state, the coroner's full of shit because he's bought by the state, the other jurors are full of shit, the judge is full of shit, everyone's full of shit here except this one dumbass that can't get his story straight.
Yeah.
And that's what it came down to me. I was like, why? What am I doing? I'm raging against the machine here for no reason, and well, not no reason, but like, you got to pick your battles.
Yep.
And this just wasn't my battle, and so, yeah, after that whole thing, like, I mean, I was the last holdout, but I was like, fuck it, and it was so I mean, I'm trivializing it because it was very emotional to the point that when we were done, and then we went in and they like read the, so they had us give the judge the verdicts. He read it. Then they had a statement from the mother, and she came up and read this like heartbreaking statement about whatever. And that's where we found out that he had a warrant against him, and that's why he didn't call 911. And like, we're like, why didn't you fucking say that in the trial? That would have stopped a lot of our negotiations or deliberations or whatever. But it was really sad, and it was relieving that it's like, he probably didn't intentionally set out to hurt this kid. And he probably did shake him. Like, that's what it sounds like. But regardless, like, he mishandled the situation, which led to this kid his life being over. And this mother had been through so much and run around by this guy so much and lied to. And this guilty verdict like really did give her like some closure, and like that's what you felt from it. And it made me feel a little better, honestly. But yeah, so they did that. They did the sentencing, so he got sentenced 15 to life, so he can get parole after 15 years. He gets time served, which is like 8 years or so. So like we were like, at least it wasn't a death sentence.
Yeah.
And then like they brought us back in the room, they gave us our phones back, and they were like, so you guys can leave if you want, but the judge and the lawyers like to come in and talk to the jury. You can stick around if you want, or you can leave. A couple people were like, I'm out. But I was like, I gotta fucking get some more clarity on all this.
Yeah.
And so the judge came, and he was like, we realized this was hard, and I hope we don't come off as, cold to this situation. But he's like, this is honestly the least gory child death case we've had this year.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, talk about some other ones where like someone boiled their baby alive in a fucking bathtub and shit. It's like, there's this shit that goes on that you're like, fuck. And these people have to deal with that all the time. They have to deal with every terrible thing that fucking happens in our society, and deal with it from a matter of fact, kind of like, these are the facts, this is the law, this is what the punishment is. And so
even if it's wrong.
And he said, there is some ambiguity in this case. And he's like, and I think that he won't get his first parole hearing accepted, but he's like, he will get out on parole at some point, and he'll have a chance to turn his life around. He's like, I don't I don't expect that he'll be in jail the rest of his life. And he was like, and he'll also have an appeal and he'll hire new lawyers and whatever. And he's like, that's just kind of how this goes, you know? So like the talking to the judge was helpful. When the lawyers came in, you could tell that the defense was like, we really had nothing to go on. We had no experts or witnesses. Sometimes, you know, we told him, we were like, honestly, I think that his testimony hurt him more. Like once we had this image in our head of him as this innocent guy, but then his testimony, he just came off as a liar that couldn't get his story straight, you know, and has had so many years to do it and couldn't get a proper story. And they were like, yeah, we kind of were trying to talk him out of doing it, but it's up to the client, you know? Yeah, the prosecutors were like, we asked about the hung jury and they said it was one juror and he wanted all this like research done with like, other babies, like dropping them. And they were like, well, we can't drop babies and give them brain damage. And he was like, well, then there's gotta be, some research done with coconut. He wanted all this research done. They said he was like a physicist. And, he said, they said there was one guy that wouldn't do anything unless there was more evidence presented. And so it was a hung jury. So all those things after the fact helped ease my mind, you know, but it was still ridiculously difficult. Everyone in that room, other than a couple people, were, you know, crying at some point. Like, honestly,
yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, I broke down in fucking bawling in my car once I got out. Once I was like done, you know, like I got in my car and was just like broke down, you know, like it was so much stress and fucking,
it's too much,
you know, it was like feeling this fucking, you know, is the universe fucking testing me here? Like, you know, like, what's my decision here? You know, is it to stick with my convictions that my dad told me over the phone that doesn't know anything about the case and isn't in the room? Or is it my civic duty to my, you know, the justice system that I'm lucky enough to live under and be able to be mad at, you know, because it's so fair that I'm able to hate it, you know? Like there's all these fucking thoughts of like, what's the move here, you know? And there's, about the biggest adult thing I've done in my life, you know, fuck everything with kids and shit like that. This was adulting, you know, that there was no one that could tell me the right thing to do. I couldn't ring a bell and be like, hey, I'm out. I'm not going to do this. You know, like there was none of that, you know? And, yeah, I mean, once we got out to our cars, it was just like, you know, just fucking, explosion of emotions. And yeah, so
they don't compensate you for therapy.
I mean, I got a check for $75 and you can do with that what you want.
God damn it.
But, yeah. And so, you know, and the whole thing with me microdosing and getting stoned before, like it was giving me all those thoughts of like, you know, you should be able, when they ask, what's, you know, do you think you can handle this? And people were crying and saying, I can't handle a murder case. Like I should be able to be like, I got stoned before this because I thought it was bullshit, but it's really not. So I should probably go home. Like I should be able to say that, right? You know, like if you were a lawyer, wouldn't you be like, get the fucking stoner out of here? You know, like.
Instead, if you say that, they're trying to slap you with a citation or something.
Right. You know, or I should be able to be like, honest guys, I do a podcast with another guy about psychedelic drugs and I don't really believe in this fucking system and it might all be a simulation. And possibly you're all lizard people that are trying to judge me to see where my moral value is. You know, and like I should be able to say that too, right? And you know, a prosecutor should be like, yeah, get Tin Hat over there out of here, you know? So I don't know. It's so weird. And it made me think of all these, like, you know, yes, we live in a free society. Yes, we don't live in Syria where our government is going to, you know, use chemical weapons against us. And we don't live in African countries where, you know, warlords cut people's heads off just because it's Wednesday. You know, I understand we live in a free country, but I don't feel free after that experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a choice to either, you know, wreck my emotional stability for a while and get paid $75 or pay $350 and spend the weekend in jail. Like those are my two options.
Yeah.
You know, and like, is that free? Is that a justice system?
Definite flaws there somewhere.
Yeah. Right. And if I was in that guy's shoes, where I, you know, possibly didn't hurt this kid and I did drop him because I was throwing him up in the air and I was afraid to tell people because I had a warrant out, you know, or whatever. I wouldn't want someone that's going through what I'm going through that has my view of things and everything on the jury.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to make a proper decision, you know? So it's so weird, you know, and it was a weird situation for me to be in just personally, but then also like it's this weird, cross section or crossroads where, you know, the psychedelic counterculture meets the very real fucking straight culture, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like we talk about, you know, wanting to change drug policy and do all these things. Well, to do that, we need to be registered to vote. And then because of that, we could end up on jury duty in a very fucked up situation, having to hear about a very fucked up situation
Mm-hmm.
and having to decide what actually happened in that fucked up situation.
Yeah. And one of the worst parts about it is that the reason why you voted and signed up to vote didn't even turn out to be anything.
I know. Yeah. And I said that while we were deliberating. I was like, you know, I shouldn't even fucking be here, you know? And they were like, none of us should. I was like, well, no, like, I don't even vote. I just voted for weed that one time. And then, like, everyone started laughing. And like one lady who had been crying was like, I really needed that. That was a good moment. She's like, and she was like an older lady. And she was like, but that'll teach you shouldn't smoke pot. You know, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's been jury deliberation rooms that were more tense and more emotional and stuff like that. I'm sure, but it was such a weird thing that I mean, we had very, very deep philosophical talks, you know, during breaks too. Like they would we had to all go out into the courtroom and smoke cigarettes, or not the courtroom, the courtyard, and we would splinter off into groups and talk, you know, and like I was talking with this one guy about kids and, you know, all this stuff. And yeah, I mean, we just, for 3 days, it was such an intense fucking experience that, like, you know, it's kind of almost like being in a, you know, hostage situation. Like, you know, you're
Mm-hmm.
a different level of relationship with those other people. And, like I saw that guy in the grocery store just the other day, and both of us like recognized each other and turned away. And then like, we're obviously trying to avoid each other every time we ran into each other in the store the rest of the time, you know?
Yeah.
It was just weird, man. It was just a really fucking surreal situation that, you know, there were several times I had to be like, is this really fucking happening? Or am I going to like snap out of it? And this was all a goddamn fucking part of my LSD trip, you know, like,
Mm-hmm.
like, is this all fucking dream vision thing? Because it's like, I shouldn't be here. This isn't what I do. I'm a fucking psychonaut. I'm not a jury member, you know, like I'm a stay-at-home dad fucking podcaster. I'm not a fucking, I'm not one of you. You guys are the ones that are supposed to get called and go to do this and be like, guilty, not guilty. I'm not supposed to be this. I'm not part of you, you know, like,
Mm-hmm.
and like, I just wanted to run away the whole time, you know, and, you definitely cannot,
No,
you know,
that's wild, dude. During that whole time, I was just hoping everything went well, you know, just because the shrapnel of the situation, I feel, can be a lot to the juror.
Yeah.
Just because of how serious the situation is. Like, I understand the judge and the lawyers came afterwards and said this is nothing, but that it's doesn't matter to them. It's nothing. It matters to the eye of, whoever's there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was just hoping that everything was going to be well with you, because it's a ride, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I'm glad we have the jury system.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I guess it ruins the impartial nature of it, but like, you should be able to be like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Or just claim religious fucking freedom. Like, why do we always complain about religious freedom? Why can't I say, I don't believe in that? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I guess, you'll end up with impartial juries because the people that want to go be like, yeah, I want to fucking see it.
Yep.
Fucker burn, or like whatever.
That's exactly it,
that's who you're going to get,
Yeah. And the reason why the jury system is there is to have people like you there, or people like myself, or I would assume the listeners that are more open-minded than the guy that was falling asleep or the guy that was looking at his phone the whole time. It's to have that outside opinion that could potentially save someone's life, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, and it's like...
There's pros and cons, for sure.
There really is, but I don't know. It's weird. Because, like, I'm like, I shouldn't have fucking registered to vote.
Mm-hmm.
But they really get you on, like, you gotta... I don't support any, political party or, like, politicians. And no campaign shit or fucking CNN article. None of that emotionally makes me like, yeah, I gotta go vote for that dude. Like, I don't care. It's all bullshit. Like, no politician has ever succeeded with anything they did while they were running for office, or anything they said while they were running for office.
I do have to say, though, that there's one politician, I'm not even going to name who it was, because I'm not saying to vote for them or anything like that. But one of their policies was to get rid of student debt. And that was the only one that I was like, like I'm not even dedicated to that or dedicated to voting. But that's like, all right, so they're trying to do something here. And if they get rid of my debt completely, then that's worth a vote. But other than that, nothing has come up.
Well, right. But everyone wants rainbows and unicorns, but you have to look at the reality of the situation. And
no, absolutely
not to digress here, but if you want to talk about student debt, what's the only debt, one of the only debts that you cannot go bankrupt from? That's student debt.
Yep.
And that happened.
Claim bankruptcy.
You can't get out from under student debt because in 2014, I think, after the economic crash, which was caused by home loans, the government took over Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which give out student loans.
Mm-hmm.
And then they passed the Loan Forgiveness Act, or I can't remember what it's called, but they made it so that student debt is now backed by the government. The interest rates go to the government. That is part of the government revenue, is the interest rates of debt that they force everyone to do, basically.
Yeah.
They almost force everyone to go to college, if it's not by peer pressure or not, and take out loans that are insane amounts of money that go up every year, and you can't get out from underneath it. You can't say, I don't have any money. You can't go bankrupt. They're like, well, that doesn't matter. You still got to pay it at some point. We're going to charge you interest. And then whenever you do have money, we're going to take it all. And that all goes into the government for revenue. So I don't know how any politician's going to get rid of that. But anyway, that's a discussion for another time, and it involves crypto and stuff like that. But what I'm talking about is I fall for those same things. I want a lot of what those politicians have to say, but they don't do anything.
It's all
Once they're in
pandering.
office, their first goal is to obtain funding for their reelection campaign.
Yep.
You know, and so all you do by voting is help out a career politician. Now, I do believe there's a lot of people that have a very good heart and understanding of what needs to happen, but it doesn't work. The federal government doesn't work on that level. Now, if I did care about who was the mayor of my city and stuff like that, I do think voting and taking part in your local communities is important. Probably even your state, but it's just the federal level is too big. We're too fucking stupid to know, like the fact that there's still just two political parties is ridiculous. Like there shouldn't be just one of two choices. You got to pick one or the other. And so that creates a situation where there's no accountability for either side. Because if you don't accomplish what you said you were going to when someone put you in office, you don't have to admit, hey, I was just lying. I know I couldn't do that. You just have to be, hey, the other guy is fucked. That's why.
Yeah.
I want to do what I said I was going to do, but the other side's fucked. I'm team blue all the way. Team red is fucked. You have to do whatever you can to make sure team red doesn't win. And then I can get rid of your student debt. Team red's the one that doesn't want it. And so anyway, like that's why I don't vote. That's how I did have a moment where I was very politically engaged, but I was able to have a moment of clarity and be like, holy shit, everyone's just fighting, but nothing's ever been fixed, and everything is always going forward. We've never gone back. No one's ever been like, hey, actually, like, we're not going to allow black people and white people to get married anymore. That was a dumb idea. Like, that's never going to happen. We're never going to be like, hey, women shouldn't vote. And the people that hope that abortion gets made illegal, that's never going to happen. We never will go back. Life always goes forward. And we don't need to vote on that. We just need to understand that. And that's why I really, like, it's weird. And I was having this thought the whole time of like, where is the role of the psychedelic counterculture in politics and law and justice reform? Because we can't, as a psychedelic culture, be all about just complete fucking anarchy and martial law or something. We need rules, we need regulations, we need laws, we need representation. We need to have our voice heard, our vote count. We can't just be living in communes doing whatever, which is great for our own personal lives. And maybe that's the role that the psychonaut needs to come to grips is like, I'm not part of the bigger picture. I'm part of the picture that's bigger than the bigger picture. I'm part of the eternal. I'm not part of this fucking, popularity contest game that these monkeys have created. Like there's more.
I think that's a large part of it too.
That's a large part of it.
Yeah.
And I've had that moment when you are actually really achieving ego death type of trip. That's what I've thought. And I pull a little bit of that realization back with me from those trips. But it's not permanent. It's like everything else that those realizations you have. And so day to day, unless you're going to trip every day, you have to be a part of your society. And I've cured a lot of like moments of depression and anxiety and self-doubt and all these negative things that you would normally run to the psychedelic world to answer. I've cured a lot of that or alleviated a lot of those feelings with community engagement, with taking my kid to Cub Scout events or volunteering at this community farm by me, or, like there's just going to the gym at my community center and getting, a friendly relationship with the people that are there at the same time I am every day. And the people that work there, those type of things that are not counterculture at all, are very much a part of my life and a positive part of my life. So I can't take this total counterculture role of like, no, I'm one of the others. Fuck you. Like the others is just almost its own political party, right? Like it's like we should have representation in this game that the monkeys are playing while we're here, you know. And I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think that for what you're saying as the others, I think that the ideology of a community and things like that that both non-psychedelic advocates and psychedelic advocates both subscribe to, it's the positive ones that are the middle of the Venn diagram, you know.
Yeah.
And it's the community and the loving and those things, and that's where people see eye to eye. And that's why when somebody comes out of a psychedelic experience and saying it's all about love, it's the answer is love and all the hippie love, all of that, it's because that's what everybody can kind of see, put themselves in another person's shoes with.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I think that's where the common ground is. And I don't think, although there are definitely times that I want to be this entirely different entity of human or whatever I identify with compared to, say, somebody that's straight edge or something like that. It's just, at the end of the day, the common ground is those positive things.
Yeah. No, it is. It's well, I mean, it's much like well, have you seen that movie on Netflix that just came out, The Great Hack?
Yeah, actually, I did see it.
Did you watch it? You know, that got me thinking too about,
crazy movie, by the way. People should watch it.
Yeah, really. Before you start blabbing on and on about anything you think that happened with the last presidential election in our country,
or
like,
Brexit,
or you know, any of these social media driven divisive political event, you know, votes, you should just watch this. And it talks about Cambridge Analytica, who, you know, is a research PR firm that's hired by whoever wants to pay them to you know, research and spread campaign stuff of whatever, you know, political campaign you might be
data driven.
paying them. Yeah, it's all data driven from social media accounts. And it you know, once you start realizing what politics and government view you as, you are a commodity.
Yep.
They don't care about your opinion. They care about what in your psychology can make you change or make them change your opinion. And they go through everything we do, not to sell us stuff. They want to do that too. You know, the commercialism involved is important to make you buy stuff. But they want to see what you click on, what you search, what you watch on YouTube.
Yep.
To determine what of the 5,000 boxes they have you fit in. And if they have a specific client that is trying to win a specific election, and they know they need a specific amount of people from a specific
demographic,
and they only need 2% to change your mind to vote or not vote, well, then they know what to do and they know where to get you. You know, and like, even me, who can be like, I don't fucking buy shit from ads. I don't fucking vote for nobody. I don't fucking I don't give a shit about who's president. I don't give a shit about senator. I could be as fucking punk rock, rebellious. I get stoned before jury duty. I could be whatever the fuck I think is cool and against the grain and whatever. Well, guess what? I'm in one of their fucking boxes. And guess what I have on the back of my car? A fucking Bernie sticker. And guess what I fucking did when he didn't give the
nomination.
When he didn't get the nomination because of the fucking corrupt super delegates of the Democratic Party, I didn't fucking vote. And I want to think that was my own, you know, fortitude, and like I was like making a stand, right? But was I influenced by them? Was I influenced by Cambridge Analytica? Was I part of their fucking plans to take that segment and be like, we don't need to make them vote for Donald Trump, but we need to make them not vote?
Yeah.
You know, like, so it's like, and I'm not saying that I would have voted for Hillary knowing that. I'm not saying I'm even upset Donald Trump's president. You know, like, because that's the thing. I'm like, I don't fucking like anybody that's president. If my dad was president, I would be pissed. You
Even
know,
more
like,
pissed.
Right. I would be like, fuck him. He's a shitty president. I don't care what he does. You know, and so, but that's the thing is like, they have 5,000 data points on 300 million people, they said.
Yep.
I'm one of them.
Yep.
It's unique and fucking psychedelic, and I run a podcast and I'm talking about drugs on a Discord server all day, and like I'm a stay-at-home dad that quit my job. As unique as I want to be, I'm sure I fit into one of those 5,000 fucking data points that they have. You know?
Mm-hmm. As long as you got a Facebook, you're going to be on the data points.
Yeah. And as much as I want to rail against Facebook, I still get on there every now and then when there's a cute picture of my kid. I post them on there. Now, I don't get into the fucking arguing and bullshit. And I've blocked everyone that wants to be a fucking political asshole on there. But that's part of their fucking thing too.
Yep.
They know what ads to cram in there and put on my phone and whatever, you know?
Yep. You're the stay-at-home dad that doesn't engage in controversial topics.
Yeah.
To them.
Yeah. And probably isn't motivated to vote because of that.
Yep.
And so they're going to put into my news feeds and whatever, you know, that. And so it's like, I believe all this interconnectedness and stuff is part of our evolution as humanity, but it's making it hard to be a counterculturist, you know, like to be a true counterculturist, you have to not have any of this. You have to just fucking, you know, live off the grid reading books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
No, really.
But, you know, I like it. I like our Discord channel. I like doing this podcast. There's a lot of people that listen to it, that like listening to our podcast. There's a lot of people that like, you know, the YouTube videos we put out and stuff, you know, and it's like, so there's that line to walk.
Yeah. But I think what you were saying about, you know, it's live off the land lifestyle, or, you know, unplug from everything, read books and be the complete isolationist. I think you can do that while also accessing certain things, you know, while also accessing social medias that you enjoy. And it's just it's more of a mindset. It's, you know, it's you're not going to go on it to the point of addiction. You're going to use it as a source of enjoyment. It's just like any other thing where if you apply discipline to it, you can get good out of it.
Yeah, no, well, that's absolutely true, because, you know, to go back to when we were talking about seasonal depression, well, you know, what was I and many other people going through when it's cold and shitty and you can't go outside? We're on our phones more.
Yeah.
You know,
watching TV more. Why, we were plugged into that fucking fear machine that at some point the producers in this society decided consumers buy more when they're afraid. We need to do what we can to keep them afraid. Even though we're not any worse off than we used to be, we're probably better off. But fear makes you buy stuff, makes you think you need stuff. Fear or like just disappointment. Like, you know, if you're like, that guy's cool because he has that fucking guitar or whatever, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, being unsatisfied makes you buy stuff. Being afraid makes you buy stuff. So they know that. And once you're plugged into that machine, you end up having these negative feelings, these negative vibrations, you know, and what has helped me get out of those feelings of the winter blues was
having discipline and having structure to my life. And I use that Fabulous app that, you know, you can set reminders for different wellness things. And I do same shit in the morning, same shit in the afternoon, same shit at night, you know. And if I miss it a day, oh well, whatever. Next day's new set, you know.
Yeah.
And I got really into a routine at the end of the school year of like that, and I felt fucking awesome, you know. And then we hit summer, and it was like, I don't know, we don't have any schedule, we don't have it, and I just like stopped doing it. I started just swiping and ignoring whenever those fucking alerts came up, you know.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the last month that I was like, all right, I'm getting back to it. I'm done traveling for the summer. I'm doing this, you know, and like I feel a lot better. And part of those things is for at least 1 hour, I just put my phone away and get the fuck away from it. And don't watch TV. I either go play music downstairs, go outside, go hiking, mushroom hunting, do yard work, play with the dogs, whatever. And it usually turns into like 3 hours. You know, I only have on the app an hour just to do that. And I have 20 minutes of meditation, which I've started doing with I've had my 5-year-old do it with me. And that's been awesome. Like, I think that's gonna be a really good thing for him. But you know, that's part of that time. And it always turns into more time. Like once I break that thing, I have to make myself, and I have to put an alert on the thing I need to get rid of. And I get rid of it. It like breaks that addiction. I'm like, I don't need my phone. I don't care if Stan texted me about the podcast tonight, whatever, like we, you know, or whatever, like none of the shit really matters. I got through most of my life without getting notifications, you know, and then now I'm so addicted to it.
Yeah. Well, it boils down to the fear.
Yeah.
It boils down to fear of not seeing a notification.
Yeah.
It boils down to not being in the know.
Yeah.
And, you know, the biggest thing that why is it that after a psychedelic experience of any kind, of any size, whatever dose you want to say, you could even a microdose, but why at coming out of that is there the feeling of I have everything that I need?
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to go search for more. You have everything you need. Go do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's something I struggle with all the time, but it's one of the biggest reminders that always comes to me after a psychedelic experience is that what are you doing going and looking for entertainment or going on Amazon or, I mean, it goes down all the way to like, I don't want to say molecular level, but like emotional level of like, you're going here to get an aggressive emotion or you're going here to get this emotion when the only emotion you really need is just being in the now and putting your best foot forward towards whatever you're doing in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is all about fear, man. That's the shit of the humanity right now is fear, I feel.
Right. And that's why, like, I've been stuck on Facebook, but that's the next thing I'm going to like delete my Facebook account just so it's hard to log in at least, you know. I know it doesn't get rid of it. But like I've blocked it from my phone and then unblocked it for whatever reason and then don't block it back. And but
just for your data's sake.
I know. Yeah. I don't have the messenger on my phone.
Okay.
You know, like if someone doesn't have my number, well then fuck you. Like I don't need to talk to you
exactly
than our Discord. And that's why, like, you know, to turn this whole thing into a fucking ad for anyone that listens to the podcast to get on the Discord server, it is social media for sure. It's just as addicting to the dings and like, oh, who's talking there, you know, or whatever.
Yep.
But it is all positive. We've had a couple negative people come on and, you know, you're just going to attract wackos every now and then talking about the shit we talk about. But other than that, it's all positive and it's all people from all over. And, you know, I kind of don't always respond to everything, like just because I'm like, I got to put my phone down, you know, because I mean, there is a lot of different conversations going on in different rooms and stuff like that. But it's like, it's all positive energy, positive vibration, positive, you know, support, you know, if people are tripping or have questions about this and that. It's such a better situation. And it kind of leads into what I was saying, where like, it's a smaller community. It works better that way,
Yep.
like I've been on some of the Discord servers that have more people and it's kind of just all over the place, random nonsense, which ours may seem like that if you're not, if if you haven't been on it, but still, like, it's smaller. There's less people taking part, which is like just with government and community, like smaller communities and governments work. It's like once you're trying to include everyone, that's where it doesn't work. And that's what Facebook is. It's everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Or Twitter.
Yeah. And
like, there's not one policy on Twitter that everyone will agree with.
Right. And so
it's impossible.
In smaller face-to-face or just smaller community online interactions, everyone's nice.
Mm-hmm.
When we're all part of a whole, we're all assholes. I am too. I can't go on Reddit anymore. The only reason I go on Reddit is when you post the links for the podcast and to upvote. That's the only reason I go on Reddit. I don't look at it at all because I will end up fighting someone.
It's the same thing for me where with what you were just saying, where the only communities I've subscribed to are small communities. So, if it's my favorite baseball team, favorite soccer team, communities where there's less than 100,000 subscribers, which I know sounds like a lot, but active,
you're
getting a few thousand. But that's the only communities I subscribe to, because if you're going on r/news, their main news aggregator on the site, you're going to have a ton of people that don't know anything or don't agree with you, and it's just going to turn into a fight.
Yeah.
And one thing about the Discord, which it goes along with psychedelic culture as a whole, is it's kind of a psychedelic in itself, where it's weird. It's very weird talking to a lot of these like-minded people.
Well, yeah. I mean, and if you take the word psychedelic as mind manifesting, social media is manifesting. Like on a large level, like we were talking about the way they advertise and stuff like that. It's this, they're manifesting reality for you. Like if they're trying to fear monger, like you're going to constantly be seeing shit that's like that.
Mm-hmm.
When you're part of a like-minded, smaller community, you're going to constantly be seeing stuff that they're seeing too. You're going to you're going to manifest reality for each other, and it's going to be a much more pleasant thing because it's going to be stuff you're into and not the stuff that's going to make you buy shit, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, and what I was saying was that it's positivity, which is a total difference than controversial engagement,
right?
But it's really something that you can choose when you want to use, and it's there to be used as a resource. It's not there to really be used as a distraction from life.
Yeah.
I don't know, other than maybe say a 15-minute spurt where you're going back and forth with somebody, it's not really there to be a distraction. It's there to check in not only with yourself, but with these people that all have the similar goals. And I mean, one of my favorite things about it, as you said, not being an advertisement for it, but creating a place for a daily gratitude. It's a practice that I've always wanted to implement. And it's like I'm going to journal every day, or I'm going to meditate every day. I'm going to write down what I'm grateful for every day. Well, we created a channel for that. And guess what? The more people that do it, the more inclination I have to do it. And then I'm doing it every day, whereas I'm not putting it aside it's something I wanted to do for years. And it's like, all right, now I'm just doing it every day, and it's effortless because everybody else in this community is doing it as well.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's like a accountability group in that way, like it's, yeah. No, I definitely, the gratitude is a big thing. I was going to make a video about gratitude and vibration and stuff like that. So, I'll expand on that later.
Certainly.
But that's been a big thing, is because that's part of one of my routine things is to be grateful every morning. You know, like if
Mm-hmm.
if you can't be grateful about one thing when you wake up, like you're gonna have a shit day. If you're
Mm-hmm.
grateful for one thing when you wake up, you're gonna have, at least that's a good part of your day, you know, or whatever. That can be the high point.
Yeah.
But that's been really big, is that channel of the wall of gratitude, and seeing, you know, seeing that other people can resonate with that and be like, yeah, okay, I can find one good thing about today. Even after they post that, their day might go to shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, and for me too, it's sometimes been things that I've looked at in a negative light that I can then see in a positive light,
Yeah. No,
because
that,
because it gives you the perspective of it not existing.
yeah. And it's totally different, and that's where the accountability group type of thing comes in, of like typing it and knowing that you or other people are seeing it and be like, hell yeah, man, or, you know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different from this, like going in the bathroom being like, well, I'm grateful that I woke up, you know, or whatever. Like I'm gonna be less honest about it if it's just me. I lie to myself all the
Mm-hmm.
fucking time. Why wouldn't I do that with gratitude? You know, so writing it down. My wife gave, you know, has been doing that since the start of the year. I think I'm not sure. She's
Oh
on
wow.
100 something days. She writes on Facebook every day and she posts pictures of what she's, you know, 3 things that she's grateful for. At the end, she does it at the end of the day, you know, to kind of sum up her day. Um, I prefer it for the start, because I tend to, like, if I fucking wake up on the wrong side of the bed, I let that shit fucking
Oh yeah.
ruin the rest of my day. So to kind of turn it around and be grateful. And I got that from Joey Diaz. He's like, he says that he wakes up every morning and says, like, it's a good fucking day to be alive, you know, and like says that in the mirror. And that's a good thing, because I can totally go the other way with that, you know? So to see everyone kind of doing that and benefit, and I'm sure everyone's benefiting the same way you and I are from it. That's a great thing to have on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's important to have every day. And I wanted to go back a little bit and just touch on the whole like everything is okay situation, where that like data and social media kind of feeds into fear and kind of telling you that things aren't all right. It, for me, I talked about the emotional side of it, but it goes so deep that it starts to feel like it's ingrained in you. Do you ever feel that, like that it's like pulling out a root, you know, once you get so deep into, say, political discourse, or um I guess that's a good example, political discourse, and then all of a sudden you have, like you said, the realization of like, whoa, this is all bullshit. What have I been doing, and why do I have this bumper sticker on my car? You have to like pull the roots,
Yeah,
you know.
no, I know. And
It's hard to do
it is.
because it's always there. It's like it's like you pull the root, but not all the way down. Like it's still, it has the chance of growing back up if you, one day you're having that shit day where you don't do the daily gratitude or something like that, and all of a sudden, you know, on the top of your Twitter feed is Bernie Sanders got in a fight with Donald Trump about X, and then whoop, the root starts growing again.
Yeah. Well, I think that it is, you know, it all has to do with vibration. This is what I was going to do a video on, but like higher states of consciousness, whether it's through psychedelics or meditation and all of that, is a higher vibrational frequency, and that can slow down. Obviously, everything that's in motion slows down, right? Or, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like everything that vibrates eventually stops vibrating. I think that's why we die. I think that's why we age. You know, it's like your vibrations just slow down. And if you're not constantly kind of up in that vibration, like you're going to start just falling into that lower vibrational state. That, you know, that's why, like, okay, so uh, people that just want to like read the Bible and be like, that's it, I don't need to question nothing, that's it, that's easy. You don't need to raise any vibrations to just get told
Mm-hmm.
what's happening. To just be like, I'm a Democrat, whatever the Democrats say, that's what I support because that's what I do. That's the same thing. Like politics become a religion at that point, you know, when people are just like, we're a Democrat family. I'll be damned if there's a fucking Trump support in this family. You get the fuck out of my house, son. And how many times has that happened in a family? Right?
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, and so like, that's bullshit. That's very low vibrational behavior. And you fall into that if you're not constantly trying to up your vibrations through whatever means, through
Yes.
mindfulness, through just
meditation,
being aware. It's consciousness. Consciousness by nature of our monkey DNA slows down. It's up to us to continue to keep it going and rev it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So that's what I think's going on.
And what you said awareness, but what is that through? Like how, I don't want to dive into your video topic too much, but how do you practice a higher vibration? How do you stay afloat above the low or even medium?
Just being in the moment, not going with the flow, you know? I mean, like you can be so, you know, that's what I believe depression is worrying about the past. Anxiety is worrying about the future and missing the moment. And that's what, unfortunately, that's what phones do. They take us into the flow. They're like, hey, nope, come with us. We're fucking pissed about this shit. Do you see this guy that said something racist? Come on. Fuck your fucking meditation. We're going over here. We're pissed at this guy. They make you fucking follow the flow and fill in with, everyone else's vibration. And so being aware, being in the moment, being like, this is what's going on right now. My kid's doing something cute. I don't need to take a picture and sit there fucking posting it to 50 different social media sites over and over. I need to just be in this moment with my kid. Mm-hmm. That's higher. That's higher vibration. You're experiencing something. You're living life. Obviously, a psychedelic experience or a breakthrough meditation, transcendence, yoga, you know, whatever, all these consciousness heightening things we do. They're all living in the moment, living the experience, remembering it, burning it in your brain. There's so much of our life that we're in a trance. It's because we're not vibrating very highly. We're just at base level vibration. Base level vibration.
Going with what's around you.
Right. Base level vibration gets you at base level life with the rest of, you know, the base level dull gray masses. And we can come in and out of that at any time. And that's what, you know, it gets fucking bastardized because of idiots on the internet. But being woke is a real fucking state that people should like try to be. You know, you should try to
That's not saying that the earth is flat.
No.
That's what the stereotypical being woke is right now. And I think it's miscategorized and mischaracterized right now, that term of being woke. And then, you know, it can be so much more, which is what you're alluding to.
Yeah. Well, and it's become, and it doesn't have to be flat earth. It can be anything, but it's like, there's these people that are like, you fuckers in your mainstream media, you don't know shit, man.
Yep.
You don't know the websites I've seen.
Fake news.
Right. And so it's like, okay, but that's not woke. You don't have higher consciousness. You're just following a different baseline vibrational situation.
It's just another stream.
You know, it's just a different frequency, but it's still not very high of a vibration, you know.
Instead of the Facebook progressives, or to say Twitter progressive stream, you're going through the alternative channel, conservative stream, or, you know,
right. Yeah.
It's just another stream.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I'm not saying that there are people that can be of higher consciousness that can't believe those things. Obviously, you can believe whatever you want. It's the behavior that's kind of key that, you know.
And it's the following the leader that I think is kind of the, maybe not negative, but for me, it's all about just like finding your own truths.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. We're at almost 2 hours, man. That was a good. Yeah, that was a good talk, though. I don't know. wanted to talk about jury duty, but that's honestly, it fed into all the things that situation made me feel. So I think it's all relevant. Hopefully people were still hanging in there listening to us, but
one good thing that, I listened to Theo Vaughn's podcast, and Duncan Trussell was a guest on his show a little bit ago, and going with social media and kind of just a positive spin on it all with a negative note was him saying that if you want to have people be outraged, go on Twitter with a big following and say that everything is perfect at this moment.
Yeah.
And that's
true.
where we're at right now, man. And
that's
people,
true.
Yeah. And you'll have people saying a million different things. You'll have people saying that,
you're privileged.
Yep. You'll have people saying, well, you were high at jury duty.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But guess what, man? Everything is perfect. I feel that completely.
Yeah. So, yeah, I hope that's the message we're getting across to people, and why I don't, bitch about politics and stuff like that too much.
No, definitely. I think that's the consensus of everybody that kind of subscribes to this community.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thanks for hanging in there, everyone, and listening to us, and we'll see you next time. As always, thank you for listening to the Help Find the Others podcast. Please don't forget to check out our Discord server to connect with our growing community. The link to join can be found in the description. And if you feel like donating to our channel to help us grow, a link to our Patreon can also be found in the description, as well as some cryptocurrency wallet addresses. If you would like to be a guest on the podcast or have any questions about these topics, please email helpfindtheothers@protonmail.com. If you would like to leave a voicemail or a text message question for a future episode, Stan, what's that number again?
567-233-1335.
Okay, guys, thanks again. And until next time, let's help find the others.